Hey there, neighbor. Welcome to Wild Homestead Living. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Julie, and today you are watching our Homestead Hangout video for August. This is a series where we update you on all the highlights that have happened in the last month on our own homestead.
Let's get started.
Well, things are winding down from the summer here on the homestead, and we are still trying to solve the problem of our mystery garden issues, but we did get some summer crops, and now we're starting to move into thinking about what we want to have in the garden for fall and winter.
Yep, and wildlife here on the property has kind of been winding down as well. A lot of the animals have finished raising their young, but there are still a lot of babies out there, and we've been capturing them on our trail cam, so we have a lot of footage to share.
And we're so excited that you are here with us today to watch this video. We would love to have you subscribe to this YouTube channel and like it if you enjoy spending time with us.
In August, Julie and I made our annual trip to our local U-Pick blueberry farm. We made a video about this trip, so check it out if you have an interest. This particular farm has 900 bushes representing 11 different varieties of blueberries, so you're encouraged to sample them as you go to find the ones that you like best. I assure you that at least some of the berries did actually make it into my bucket. We ended up taking over 16 pounds of blueberries home, and that's a few too many to eat in one sitting. So we preserved them by first putting them on a tray lined with wax paper, and then popping that in the freezer so the berries would freeze individually. We then bagged them in freezer bags and put them in the deep freeze so we could enjoy them all year long.
Last month, you might recall that we started a bioassay or soil test in our efforts to solve the mystery of our stunted garden plants. The results are in, and we now have more questions than answers. So what did we do? We developed a new experiment. First, we chose soil supplements that are readily available. We went with peat moss and compost that is heated to break down diseases and herbicides. We removed plants from 2 of the stock tanks, 1 at each end of the garden. Next, we collected soil samples from each of these tanks. We filled some seed pots with this soil and some with the soil plus added supplements. We planted a variety of pea, the same variety, in every cup. We set these up on our seed starting shelf in the garage. Outside in the tanks, we used the same supplemented soil for a side-by-side test in both tanks, and then we waited. It's now been a couple of weeks and the results are coming in, though these surprised us too. Inside, the humidity and temperature remained about the same in all of the samples, but the plants in the supplemented soil did slightly less well. Outside, the humidity and temperature between tanks was dramatic. All of the plants were a little smaller than those inside, but the plants in the supplemented soil were actually slightly larger, which is the opposite of the indoor results.
By the end of August, rabbits had eaten nearly all the clover in the quick bed by the driveway. We don't mind though. This clover was just meant to be tilled into the soil to be used as fertilizer anyway, and the rabbits actually converted it to fertilizer for us.
Despite ongoing garden issues, we did get to enjoy the fruits of our labor in August. In addition to the green beans, everything in the greenhouse is doing great, including the lemon cucumber. So far, we've picked some black Hungarian peppers, lemon jalapenos, Alma paprika peppers, and Thai orange peppers. This is the first time we've ever had Thai peppers, and they are much hotter than expected.
The bed around the perimeter of our main garden was bursting with color in August as flowers like this sunflower came into bloom. We also had a lot of low-growing plants like nasturtium that opened up their blossoms, and that attracted a lot of interest from our local pollinators like these honeybees. We were excited to see them because that's exactly why we put these plants in.
In August, I planned out our fall garden, which meant spending some quality time with our seed box, catalogs, garden notes, and growing charts. If you're interested in learning more about garden planning, we encourage you to download our free Quick Start Vegetable Gardening Guide, which is available on our website at wildhomesteadliving.com.
Here are some of the plants, the vegetables I'm going to be planting in our fall garden. These are all in the brassica family. So we've got broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage. You may notice that they're in plastic pots instead of the seed blocks that we used in the spring. And that's because we're still trying to solve the mystery of what went wrong with our soil mix. So what I'm using right now is a commercially purchased seed starting mix that doesn't block really well. So I'm using these old cups that I've had from other plantings. Now, I only want one plant in each one of these cups, so I'm gonna thin down to one, which means I'm gonna pick whichever one in each looks the strongest and cut the other. And I'm also gonna fertilize. The best time to start fertilizing your starts is when you get your second set of true leaves. And a true leaf is these. This is the seed leaf, the first baby leaf, and then the first set of true leaves and the second. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim and fertilize and give them a little bit of time outside acclimating to the weather today. I'm going to fertilize with a diluted kelp and fish emulsion.
August was a time of transition for many species of wild birds and small mammals on our property as they completed raising their young for the year and went into the post-breeding season. We're continually trying to improve our property for wildlife, and there is one section of the property that we've put in 3 years of work so far towards this particular goal. I've mentioned in past videos that I'm trying to eliminate non-native plants here on the homestead, and one of our main problem areas is right here. When we moved in, this patch was entirely covered in Japanese knotweed. I pulled and dug out as much of the knotweed as I could and put down cardboard to try to smother out the rest of it. A lot of people use herbicides for knotweed, but I prefer not to use herbicides if at all possible. And for smaller patches like this, the smother and pull method has worked for me in the past. Just requires constant vigilance, so I'm out here weekly pulling out new plants that come up and trying to make sure that they are burning up more energy than they're putting back down in their root system. Here's a sneaky piece. Knotweed, salal. Non-native, native. This is going to be a long-term project. It's already been 3 years. It's probably going to be at least 3 more of constant vigilance. But the native plants are already starting to thrive in this area. And with native plants come native wildlife. So in the long run, this is going to be worth the labor to not use those pesticides and just to make sure that the native plants get reestablished in this spot. The resident family of crows completed raising their young in August, and the adults have now entered the post-breeding season molt. We saw how hard these parents worked, so I don't think it's coincidence they lose their feathers right after the breeding season. The resident deer population is still busy raising their young of the year. We've seen a number of different fawns on the property. You can tell them apart by their spots. Some of them have tiny spots that are not very noticeable, and some of them have very distinct, very round spots, like this guy. I'm not sure what happened with this fawn, but after taking a quick drink from the pool, he bolted off to the left. When he came back, he looked very stressed. I'm not sure if he just lost sight of mom or if there was something else going on that upset him, but he was on high alert, clearly. He eventually headed off, seeming to have calmed down after whatever incident upset him. We continued to see deer sampling the plants in our perimeter garden during August, but none have yet tried to breach the main fence around the raised bed garden. We made a video about the philosophy behind this fence design if you're interested. We're pretty happy with the way it's helped us keep peace with the wild neighbors. While we've been catching a lot of footage of deer on the camera up near the garden, we've also been seeing them move through the wooded portion of our property on a regular basis. We maintain this area in a natural state, specifically so wild animals can use it as a travel corridor, and the deer seem to find it very valuable, and we see them move through both day and night. We'll continue to maintain this part of the property for these animals, not just because we enjoy sharing our property with them, but because we also enjoy disappearing into the woods nearly as much as they do. Many other animals besides deer have been using the wooded trails through our forest. For instance, this eastern cottontail that seems to have made friends with a spotted towhee. At least they seem to be very comfortable feeding in close proximity to one another here on the wooded path. We've also seen what we believe to be a snowshoe hare using the forest, not just based on the black-edged ears and lack of a cottony tail, but also based on the fact that he trains nights, presumably for an upcoming race against the tortoise. Once again, a Virginia possum made an appearance on our trail cam in August, although he does not appear to be on the same training regimen as the hare. But maybe the possum should be in training, because this bobcat also appeared on our trail cam on August 3rd. We've seen these cats on a regular basis on our cams in the past, and it's a good reminder that when we do have chickens or other livestock, we're going to want to make sure our fences are up to the task to make sure we're good neighbors to these cats, as well as the coyotes that also continued to make appearances in August. We were really excited to see this individual, as we think she's the one that was limping in the past 2 videos. She still has a slight limp, but she looks much improved over the past videos. And it looks like she had another coyote following along right behind her, possibly a young one. That was good to see as well. Towards the end of August, we looked up to see a kettle of turkey vultures, possibly gathering together in the early stages of their fall migration. It was exciting to see them. These are Julie's favorite birds, and she has worked with them in the past when she was a wildlife rehabilitator in upstate New York. These birds serve an important ecological role, and it is always a thrill to see them. As summer transitions to fall on our homestead, many animals will head off for warmer climates in the south. Our permanent residents will prepare for winter, while others that have summered further north will arrive to spend the winter with us. We will continue to do our best to be good neighbors to all of the animals that share our property. That's all for our August Homestead Hangout. We hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into our world. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below.
And we would also love for you to come over to our website at wildhomesteadliving.com. You can sign up for our emails, and we send free exclusive content to our community on a regular basis.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time. I have the beautiful smell of fresh compost in my nose.
It's nice.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually filming. Okay.
Yeah. All right.